Yeah, I'm waiting on for the feed.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because
Hold on, let me check.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah, good
You
feed.
good? I'm good. I'm good.
Shalom, shalom.
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 First of all, we want to give all praise and honor to the east, to Yahweh,
Power.
Hashem,
Our shot, our
Hashem,
shim.
Double honors to the apostle elder, the great millstone. Peace and blessings to the brother brothers and up there pushing the truth. All right, so, brothers, we back out it again. You know, the Israelites, we back at it again on the highways and the hedges, prophesying. And we at that point now where it's clear and obvious what we've been saying from our apostles and elders on down is true. Okay, you have the cruel Lord, so-called Donald J. Trump. He's rolling on these cities, man. He's sending the National Guard. All right, he's sending the National Guard for you so-called black people, right? He's sending the National Guard for you so-called black people, African Americans, and he's sending ICE, okay, to you so-called Latinos. And then all under the disguise of we need to make America great again. And when was America great? When you so-called black, Hispanics, and Native Americans were under the so-called white man, right? Trump called it the golden age. And the golden age is the Edomite getting back into power, okay? And what proves that? Well, now you have the Department. They're going back to the Department of War. Okay, World War I, World War II, it was called the Department of War. Since the inception of America, it was called the Department of War. They changed it after World War II, the Department of Defense. Now they came out and said, hey, look, we ain't doing that defense shit no more. We're coming to attack our enemies. We're coming to kill our enemies. Okay, with ferocity, fierceness. Okay, and whatever war we choose, or whatever war comes to us, we're gonna win it. That's the pride of the Edomite. Okay, so we definitely in that time, we definitely in that season where all the prophecies are getting ready to come to pass. The digital ID, okay, you have a government shutdown. We still in the government shutdown, right? We still in there. Yeah. Federal workers are not getting paid. Over 700,000 federal workers are not getting paid right now. Okay, it could be more than that. And the longer it goes on, the more the people are going to, more seditious the people are going to become. You have the right and the left. So you have civil war. Okay, racial tension. Okay, you have the Captain Kirk that just got shot. He's so mad about that. So you got all these different psyops going on simultaneously. Meanwhile, NATO getting ready to implement Article 5. Okay, Russia is so-called encroaching on Poland, on the Baltic states. Okay, and Trump, they just came out there, look, we getting ready, we preparing for war. So can you get that?
This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, starting at the top. It says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you.
Yeah, brethren. Speaking about those that are in the know, the initiated. Okay, another word for the elect. Okay, those that understand this speech. Okay, this instrument that we're playing, the song that we're playing, you're dancing to that song. Okay, you're mourning with us. All right, your mind is geared towards the end. That's what you meditate on. That your entertainment is watching the videos. Your entertainment is reading, going into prophecy. All right, doing videos. Okay, yeah, you probably every once in a while, watching sports. Step out maybe once or twice. But that's not the end all be all. Our mind is geared towards what's getting ready to happen. So we don't even need to talk to each other about this. We already know that this is coming. Nevertheless, the Lord has us keep reinforcing it. Okay, really is a show of power, because when it happens, there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to turn back the clock of time to try to get right. The word has already gone out. All right, go ahead.
Verse 2 in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, for yourselves know perfectly.
You know perfectly. Go ahead.
That the day of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, so cometh as a thief in the night.
Right, it's going to come as a thief in the night. 3 o'clock in the morning where you're in your boxers, you're in your covers with your woman, your children are put to sleep, you tuck them in. The house is quiet, all the lights are turned off. All right, you don't hear nothing outside. Everything is quiet. It's another day. It's another night. You know, business as usual. I'm gonna get up in the morning. I'm gonna put on my, I'm gonna get my coffee, my eggs, and my bacon, and my toast, and I'm gonna drink my coffee, get ready, kiss the children goodbye to go to work. But then a thief comes.
God bless y'all brothers.
Okay, a thief comes, and he's standing open. All right, you're in your most vulnerable state. So that's how Yahweh Shai is getting ready to come back with a little image called Christ. He's getting ready to come back at your most vulnerable state. Okay, when you're already, can you get somebody get Luke 12, 49? He's coming back at the height of tension, the height of chaos on earth. Here it is. There's a scripture where I believe it's Amos, where you right in a certain bit you escaped the lion, you escaped the bear, then you got into the house, which is symbolic of safety, a covering, and you leave your hand upon a wall in a serpent bit, meaning you're gonna be people down there that's gonna escape famine, they're gonna escape the marauders. All right, they're going to escape the troops. They're going to escape the disease. Okay, they're going to be in these 50 million cities. All right, the scriptures also say how there's going to be buying and selling, how they shall be given in marriage, right? That's it. It's going to be as in the days of Noah. There's going to be certain places in the United States that's going to have some type of some type of stability. They show you that in that movie called Civil War. Remember that one scene where they go into that one city and it's like there was a store open. You can walk in, right? You can walk in and buy stuff, but there was people on top of the roofs making sure everything was good. So there was people that you know watching, making sure this piece of America stays the same. There's still some level of sanity here. But then outside of that, there's nothing but chaos. So that's how it's going to be when the shit go down. There's going to be certain cities you don't want to enter into, certain cities you can't get out of. Other places where people are going to be living normal. Drinking coffees, lattes, nightclubs, right? But then other places where it's going to be all out chaos. All right? But Luke 12 and 49.
This is Luke 12. 49. I am come to send fire on the earth.
And we know ultimately the fire is what's getting ready to cleanse this place. At the end of the day, fire is coming. Right? Peter spoke about that. What manner of man should you be in all holiness and godly conversations? And seeing that these things are going to be dissolved. So we know ultimately that fire is coming to burn this bitch up and to take down all our enemies. Okay? And Yahweh Shai is coming with that ultimate fire, that ultimate purging. So Yahweh Shai saying, I've come to send fire on the earth. Go ahead.
And what will I if it be already kindled?
And kindling is to get something started. To kindle the love, is to kindle the romance. Like you put the petals, the rose petals at the front door. You know, the woman comes in. She's like, oh wow, it's getting a little aroused. And you got the essential oils going. And then that it starts to arouse things up. Does you see the bath? And, it starts to arouse. You put her in the mood. So here it is. Yahweh Shai is coming to send fire, but he's saying, "What will I if it already be kindled? If it's already been started?" Yeah. That's the kindling.
That's the kindling. Because you put this one type of light
And then it comes into a wildfire.
Yeah.
Okay. And Yahweh Shai is actually coming to send concentrated fire. He's going to concentrate the fire in particular parts of the earth. Okay, he's going to be hitting these different bases, these military bases. Or he's going to be shooting these people down here on the earth. Or like world to world, which he took it right out of the scriptures. And we're speaking these things out of the book, and the people are like, these niggas again. They fear mongering. Well, like, goddamn, we at the height of war. We're at the height of chaos. Right? But there's still some level of peace here in America. But see, that's what's deceptive. Because we just read in 1 Thessalonians that the Lord is going to come as a thief in the night. And we read in Luke how he's going to come with fire, but what if the fire is already kindled? Meaning these nations are going to lock arms. They're going to headbutt each other. Our alliances are already being established. We have military troops already being moved to different regions of the earth. Like the whole thing with Venezuela, that is a strategic, military positioning because they don't want to get flanked. You can't allow that area, that large area, for the Chinese, the Russians to come in to supply your enemies. And now you have war at your border. So they're of course they're coming out on Jake, but and they want the resources too. But they're already military positioning the troops in those areas. Okay, here in Memphis, they already know this shit's gonna go crazy. So they're already sending troops under the excuse that it's crime. Crime is too wild. But they already know that there's going to be sedition amongst the people. They got to already have the military force and the well-trained soldiers, like Trump just said, right? He said we should use these American cities as training grounds for our military. He already said it. So they're already telling you what they're getting ready to do, what's getting ready to happen.
They got the okay, you know what I'm saying, to put you down.
The Lord gave him the okay. The Lord gave Esau the sword to do what? Get Ezekiel 21.
That's it here.
But we'll read that. We'll go to.
We were talking earlier, Hebrews 13, he burned up the sword of the
That's it. That's it.
So when he comes down with the bad, he can be playing.
Because really, who is actually controlling Esau? Right? Psalm 17 and 13. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So who's really in control? Okay, it's Esau that's really in control. When those troops come in, the Lord sanctioned them to come into these particular areas and take down particular gates. All right, and if you don't have that exemption of judgment, you're gonna meet that judgment. Okay, but we'll finish First Thessalonians, and I want to get Ezekiel. Yep.
So this is back in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Read verse 2 again. It says, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety.
When they shall say peace and safety. All right, and that's what it's about. Because as a government, we do not want your population to panic. If the people actually knew why they brought in all those generals, they flew all those generals from all around the world, okay? They flew all those generals around the world to have a meeting, to have a briefing. Estimate cost $100 million to bring everybody in, house them and feed them, okay? There was backroom meetings that were being called. That was out for the public to see. If the people only knew why that was happening. Meanwhile, you have the Department of War, the Secretary of War saying, hey, look, we're no longer in the time of defense. We're in a time of war, okay? And then they equate the same things that's happening now, the revision of the military, the same thing happened in World War I and World War II. Right before it happened, there was a big division of the military, prepping the troops. So how do you not see that?
You can't tell me they don't line up with Revelation 12 and 12. They can't tell me they don't line up with Jeremiah 30 and 7. Why do you think that when you go to Daniel 12 and 1, it said that it's going to be a time like never before that he's going to have to send down the archangel. Right. What time is it going to be? You know, nobody said you can't be ignorant. All right? Then we know through the spirit and power you have us in ourselves by giving up the outside that we see what this place heading to. And it head to what destruction.
It's on the highway to hell.
It's circling the pain.
That's it.
Everything that's happening in this society is lining up with what? Prophecy.
And you have as it says in Ecclesiastes, the keepers of the house. The economists, they're out there, they're telling you. They ain't hiding it. They're like, hey, look, it's done. It's fucking done. America cannot sustain itself. Okay? And this is why they're bringing in that reset.
Yeah.
There's going to be a reset. Right? They call it the Great Reset. We in the Great Reset. They're about to reset everything. They're about to reset all the financial markets. They're resetting the military. They're resetting the positioning of the citizens in America. What you can, what you can't have. They're resetting the money system.
Everything the CBDC.
Okay? And they're reestablishing the American and Western hegemony. Because all these nations, they started to, well, the scriptures say, let the weak say I'm strong. They're starting to puff back at America. They're starting to move away from the petrol dollar. We're starting to move away from American hegemony.
Then, and then on top of that, they separate themselves from the Babylon money system, but it's still, when they set up their currency, what is it about the technology?
But
You see, China, you know, you got the BRICS nation. See, that shit tied in, you know what I'm saying, with digital currency. All right, Babylon the Great, they tied into digital currency.
and who funded? Why did China go digital? Who propped up China? Who made China a great nation that it is right now? Okay, America started with the British. The British are really behind. The British are behind a lot of things. Going back to the red shield people, are them little hats, the tiny cops, the tiny cops. Because you got a lot of people saying so-called small hats now. The JJs, okay, they're the ones that set all this up. And meanwhile, while they're actually crashing all these economies, they're making the civil population in uproars. You ever say uproars of the people, 2nd and the 9th chapter, right? Meanwhile, they're giving them a so-called way out, digital system. But that digital system is their way in. Now they can control every fucking thing. Okay?
It's set. We didn't say the China, we didn't say Moab gonna call all both sides and just get control. You know, he didn't say that, right? No, it's about Esau.
The beast.
The beast. All right? They're going to cause it all both sides and just get control. The seed of the rock. Let me know it's speaking about Esau.
And all the nations are they're in line with Esau. Well, Jeremiah 51. Babylon has been the golden cup of the Lord's hand, which made all the earth drunken.
And what happened?
They got mad.
Yeah.
You got it?
They got mad.
That's it. You know, they got mad because Babylon birthday ass was a whore. She was looking good, you know, cheap.
Where is the school they got her?
Yeah. And
Not a good guy.
and you laid down that hoe, and you caught a fucking incurable disease. And everybody around you like, man, this bitch for me too. And now they conspiring with each other. Obadiah the first chapter, Obadiah only one chapter. You know, all those that were in confederacy with me, have received me and watched me with the water. Those that were at peace with me, right? So these nations that you once slept with and gave aid to, behind the scenes, they're doing deals to come against you. Even NATO, the EU. All right, the beast shall hate the whore. Yep, they're gonna burn it with fire.
Exactly. That's what really set up. Isaiah 34. You go to Joel, the 2nd chapter. The Lord is building it up. All right, he's stirring, he's mustering the battle. All right, he's putting in the nation mind. All right, to hate of what? Hate of mind.
And if you would not imagine, see, America has all that power, but they have a very large, powerful allies. Okay? NATO, right? NATO and the EU basically, which a lot of EU nations are NATO nations. Basically these Edomite nations. Right? But what happens when those nations turn against America?
You got Turkey.
Yep. Yeah, Turkey is siding with Russia.
Yeah, Turkey is like, you can say part of the big nation, but they on the list. You know, the Turkey part of the
Turkey's part of NATO, and Turkey has the biggest standing army of NATO.
But they bumping heads with us. So what you know, the Lord, when he messed them down, he set it up.
And people are going to bug out when that reality comes to pass. Because nobody is speaking about that reality, only the prophets. Okay, so you can go back there.
So this is back in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
They shall not escape. So none of these people are going to be able to escape. What is that? Job the 20th chapter, they shall go ill with him that left in his tabernacle. So those that, because the elite, they're not going to be here. They're somewhere in another motherfucking country, deep in the Alps somewhere, in outer space, in the bunkers. They already know what time it is. Well, you got the so-called Jewish rabbi, tiny top rabbi that said that Americans need to ASAP. And that's an actual, amongst those contacts, the they call America, the Edomite American here, as they call them Edom. This is the land of Edom. Which, yeah, spiritually, this is Edom. This is spiritual Judah. But you an Edomite too. Or you the worst for the Edomites. Okay, you an Amalekite. Okay, and everybody hates Amalek. I shall make you small amongst the nations, greatly despised. And the Most High hates you. Alright?
We can have war with Amalek and what? Generation to generation.
And that's why not only America's going to be completely wiped out, but that land over there, where them rats over there, they can be wiped out too. Right? The only difference is that land can be built back up. The Lord is wiping that land out to cleanse it. America's getting cleansed, but it will never be inhabited ever again.
This is why it's known as burning.